So let us move into a brief meditation as we prepare for Kryon's channel at this beautiful event. And there really is nothing to do. It's simply about relaxing. And so I invite you to close your eyes and focus on your body. What is happening within the cells of your body in this moment? Bring that connection to your body. And then when you're feeling connected with the cells of your body, focus your awareness on the energy within your feet. And feel, sense, or imagine that connection that we share with the planet underneath us. Feel the energy of Gaia, our beautiful planet that is here in support of us, that is here in partnership with us. And as you feel and sense that energy of the planet in partnership with you, pull that energy up through your body and move that energy from your feet to your knees, your thighs, through your hips, your abdomen, your chest, your neck, your arms and hands. Allow that energy to travel up through your head and out the top of your head. And imagine that connection that you have out into the cosmos. Connecting in with the energy of the earth, the energy of the stars. And then as you feel that strengthen, that core energy within you strengthen, you may even sense a bubble moving out from you now. And as that bubble of connection expands, it's connecting with other bubbles that are sitting around you in this moment. And so all of our bubbles are connecting with one another. And that connection actually begins to amplify. And so just from sitting here, just from connecting with the energy of the earth and the energy of the stars, you are expanding your bubble beyond the physical body. And as we collect bubbles together, we're creating one big bubble. And if you visualize this room with this one big bubble, that's expanding out even further and connecting with every bubble that's within the hotel. And it is being amplified. And we keep sending out that bubble. That bubble is now moving beyond the hotel, beyond the city, beyond the state, beyond the country. It is now a bubble that encompasses the planet, our beautiful planet here in partnership. And with that bubble of connection, we are now in a beautiful place, postured to receive the loving messages from Kryon.
Greetings, dear ones. I am Kryon of Magnetic Service. Those who have not experienced the channeling before, I invite you to forget everything right now that might interrupt a thought that I'll give you. You are magnificent. All of you, everyone. Dropping all of the thoughts that are not that will put you into a state where you might receive this message in a way that otherwise you would not. There are always those who come to see what it's like and analyze it and look and miss the splendor that is here for you. We invite you to surround yourself in a surreal way with compassion and love that is there. That is your lineage. That is who you are. How many of those in the religious circles or the buildings that you would go to and worship would tell you that you are so worthy to look into the eyes of Spirit and say, I know you. You are so worthy to be part of a bigger picture that no one has really told you about. But so many young people now are starting to wake up to. What if there is something bigger than they were ever told about the Creator? What if you could wipe away all of the rules and all the doctrines and start over? And understand that you are born magnificent. And you go from there. Dear ones, right now in this planet, but especially in this country, in this room even, it's about realizing who you are and starting to peel the onion of duality and let all the other things slough off of you slowly as you understand there's a bigger reality, one you didn't expect. It reminds us so many times of the parable I've given and you've heard before of the master artist who looks at the block of granite and decides what to remove in order to create the masterpiece within. And that's who you are. We have said this, especially in these last 2 years, over and over, that you have new tools now. Even though you perhaps have been part of what you have called this new age for years and years, there are tools you didn't expect that enhance what you thought was there. And some of you are not even willing to see that because you're stuck with what you know. And that is part of what my partner is going to talk about today. I would like to talk briefly about 4 attributes of mastery. One has even been given today. This particular channeling, I know I will repeat. These are new things. Only recently have I given my partner these ideas. There's a profundity here of these attributes. Number 1. Mastery has peaceful countenance and wisdom and understanding in the midst of turmoil. An attribute of mastery that says that no matter what is happening around you, you have the ability to not be part of it. You are there as part of it because you live in 3D. You're there with the family, perhaps is in dysfunction or being torn apart. You're there with a community who is recovering with all of the terrific things of horror that they perhaps have seen and didn't expect. And even they, among them, there are those who understand, peace, be still. And they can drop into their heart and in the midst of the turmoil and all of that which is around them, feel the love of God. A love which they own because they are part of it, not coming from the Creator, but coming from within. Dear ones, God resides in you as well as the skies you look above. It's part of the plan. Your soul is a creation of God, and you are in it. That's you. You're not apart from God. And it means that the elements of and attributes of mastery are yours. They're yours to create, understand, develop. Let all those things of duality slough away so you can see the mastery within and be able to do some of these things. And when you start doing them, you start to have better health. You start to live longer. You start to understand the elixir of youth. You start to understand the elixir of joy And all the things that you perhaps have escaped you all your life become far more simple to achieve because you know who you are. That was number one, the ability to stand peaceful countenance among all that surrounds you that's turmoil. Number two has already been mentioned. Mastery does not react. Mastery observes. And in the observation of what is going on, looks for compassionate action. That's a hard one. When somebody stands before you and they are upset, or they're saying that you're wrong, or asking you to change, or asking things that would seem like a criticism of you and your life, or how you see things, what's your reaction? Dear ones, the human being at the elemental level is designed for survival. And in a culture, it's not about survival and running from the Bengal tiger as much as it is keeping who you are intact. And when someone comes at you and questions that which you believe, or even worse, calls your names, the instant reaction is defense. Mastery does not react. Mastery observes. Imagine somebody coming up to you and doing something like that, and you do not react at all. And instead, you're observing somebody who perhaps is hurting, realizing right away that they're in trouble or they're upset, and has nothing to do with you. But the words coming out of their mouth targeted at you because it's the best they can do to release that which is happening with them. And in that observation, you turn to compassion. And you don't defend, but instead you say to them, I love and respect you for all that you are. You don't apologize for not coming up to their standards. You just love them. How many of you are able to do that? That is mastery. Number three, mastery surrounds itself with light all the time, no matter what. You surround yourself with light before you go to sleep. You surround yourself with light as you wake up, so that everywhere you walk, you push that light before you. And you don't react to things which are then dysfunctional. Surrounding yourself with light is the key to the other two, the first two. When you're always surrounded with that light of the Creator, which is yours to surround yourself with, well, it's yours to do it. You don't then react. And you're peaceful in turmoil. And you have that visualization that you're in a bubble and you're surrounded. And that then allows you to create things that come to you. And in that creation, you will see, are you really creating your own reality, or is it just an illusion? And you realize after many things start coming to you that you didn't expect, you say, I'm creating it, and you're right, because light attracts these things. That's mastery. Number four, the last one. It's one to think about, and I've saved it to last. Mastery completely rejects anything that would diminish another person. Any verbiage, any thoughts that would diminish another human being. That means that in a group that you're with, mastery would not then cooperate with gossip, would not feel empowered if they said another person is less than they are. Mastery rejects the idea of diminishing the majesty and the magnificence of any other human being on the planet. And that's something to think about, dear ones, because there's some who their whole lives revolve around diminishing others. And you know it, and you know what I'm talking about. Perhaps you're at a family gathering where that's going to happen, and then it starts happening and you don't join in. It's obviously you don't join in. And they'll look at you and they'll say, what do you think? At that moment in time, you choose your words carefully. And you say, well, I'm not bothered as much as you are. And I want to see the good in all things, and that's why I'm quiet. It doesn't mean that you're better than they are. You just have an idea that's different, and they may or may not accept it. But that very statement says to them, I'm not going to do it. Light is attractive to this. There will be those who will come to you and say, I want what you have. I've seen you work. I've seen with others. I've seen you work with perhaps the clients at work. And what do you have that I don't? And that's when you get to share what you found. And what you share is not a doctrine. It is not an evangelical truth that you've learned and studied and have a book. It's the pattern of your life that they're looking at. And they see love and they see compassion, and maybe they haven't seen it before in a human being, not a book. And that's why you're here. In the midst of all that is here and the turmoil that is here, you have chosen to sit in these chairs because you know there is something more. To understand that there is light. To start understanding, perhaps, how to achieve it and how to find that beautiful, magnificent statue inside of the block of granite. Perhaps it's the beginning of the rest of your life. I am crying in love with humanity. I'll be back. And so it is.
So I think we're all ready. So soften your knees, really focus your intention, connecting in with Gaia, with Mother Earth, and drawing in, take a deep breath. Thank you, Gaia. Thank you, Gaia. And then thank you, Gaia. Then ever so softly bring your hands up, and drawing in a breath. Thank you, dear Creator. And drawing in another breath. Thank you, dear Creator. Drawing in another breath. Thank you, dear Creator. And have your hands facing each other. Feel that energy, that beautiful energy build within your hands. And take a deep breath. And as you exhale, we give the intent to have peace within our body. Take a deep breath. And as you exhale, our intention is peace within the body. And then gently bring those hands back in. Take a deep breath. And we give the intention for peace within the body. And then softly bring those hands back in. You may even wish to put your hands on your heart. And I invite you to sit down and keep that sensation, that feeling, that connection. As you sit down, I invite you to close your eyes. Maintain that rhythm of breathing, where you're breathing in and breathing out. And feel that peace within the cells of your body. And it is a peace that radiates out from you. It's generated from within because mastery is within. It is where everything is generated, and this beautiful communication we'll have with Kryon, it's coming from the inside of your cells. And so in this beautiful, peaceful countenance, we invite the loving messages from Kryon.
Greetings, dear ones. I am Kryon of Magnetic Service. This particular channel, at the close of this day and the close of this meeting, is for those here. Eventually, it will be listened to by many people who would expect perhaps another channeling of information specific to a theme. But it's not that way. The message is for those of you in the chairs. So many times the questions have been asked after a meeting like this, where those who have presented have gone quickly with so much information. And it happens again tomorrow. And some have asked, how do we treat this kind of thing? Where you are fed information that perhaps you didn't expect, that is beyond what you thought could even be. Tomorrow there will be a validation of some things you didn't expect are here already. The teacher Greg told you that some of the world's most pressing problems have already been solved. There is a quickening, dear ones. For all of those of you who sit in the chairs, you should hear this. A quickening of what is available on the planet. This is a battle of dark and light. Are you surprised that there are those who would like to sequester it now? Who don't want the light to come bursting out from those even sitting in the chairs? And it's true. There are those right now on this planet invested in keeping things from the light. And you're going to see more of it. And that is what you're experiencing, that sometimes is so perplexing, that's made so much of a change on this planet. But what about you? Sitting here right now. I know all of you. Every single one. I speak to you from a place that is inconceivable. When you were young and you were told about God, one of the things that was universal was that God could listen to 1 billion prayers and know every single one of them and the heart from which they came. Hard to imagine, is it not? That there is some kind of a creative source, a loving source that knows you so well that 1 billion of you can speak at the same time and God hears you. From that stance, I say, I know you. Not the Kryon knows you, but the source of which I emanate knows you. You're here in the chairs and you either believe these things or you don't. That there's something larger than that which you have been told about God. In any classroom of any church, of any group of individuals, you have no idea. And that is what is bursting out. Bursting out of even some of you. That is what brings you to the chair when you say, I want to know more. And it's not necessarily more about the science or that which is coming, but it's more about you. What is it right now that you could learn, or you could know, or you could be, that you would leave differently than you came? And perhaps it is perception, but more than that, what if you were here to receive what I'm about to give you? If you are ready, an infusion of love and compassion that might change the perception and open you up to an understanding that you are a piece of God. And in that, everything that was presented today, you can drop your notes. It goes in and stays at some level, because you have that same attribute that you learned so long ago of a Creator who could listen to a billion prayers. And in that, you also have the ability to stop for just a moment and open up your countenance, your entire spiritual being. Think of it as an opening flower that has been closed like a rose for so long, but then given just the right impetus, it might open up just slowly enough to let in what you came for. Not the information, that's there as well, but an infusing of something you didn't expect right now. Right now. Those who sit in the chairs who want it, something that's going to blossom a little later, and something that you're going to feel. Perhaps now, perhaps days from now. When you start to analyze what happened this weekend and you say, something happened to me, and it wasn't the information. Dear ones, prepare to get bigger in a spiritual way than you think. That is why you came. Not just to this meeting, but perhaps why you're on the planet. Open up that flower for a moment and then close it in a moment, because this is a precious place that you expose, where it's absolutely safe to be. And in that moment, right now, I want you to feel the infusing of love and compassion pouring into you. Like Spirit, like God has all of a sudden extended His hand, her hand, and in that you take it. And you say, I've been waiting for this moment. Mastery is part of this process. You deserve it. It is your lineage. You're here for it, and you don't have to work. All you have to do is understand. Right now, with that flower open, give permission to flow into you. Let the spigot open and let it pour into you, and understand that this is why you came. It is your privilege, your magnificence, to receive every single thing that you think you came for. Dear ones, the issue is this. The image of the Creator is here, and it's far larger than anything you've ever been told, ever, on this planet. That is the discovery at hand. Feel it. Feel it. Accept it if you wish. It's your free choice to have opened the flower or not. It always will be. It always will be. Nothing is pushed upon you that you did not ask for. Nothing. Slowly close the petals of the flower, because you expose something precious, something that only you would expose when you know it's safe. And that is your inner core self. That's why you came. There have been those who say, how does God see me? And that is such an open question. It's beyond the perception of anything that you think God sees you as. How do you see your children? What kind of love and compassion do you have for your own flesh and blood? You are part of the creation. Your soul is eternal. It never was created, it never will end. It is part of the Creator. That's who you are. That's how God sees you. He doesn't see you in human form, does not see you as a name, but sees your soul, which God created as family. You are seen as an equal, as family, as beloved, cherished, and loved. And that is the truth that you needed to hear. Go from this place differently. And when you have a quiet time, you might even, when you're alone, raise your hand and say, was this real? And prepare for the chills to come in that would say to you, welcome to family, dear ones, in a way you never expected. This is why I came to this planet. For this time, not 20 years ago, but for now. This is why the channels have changed and my partner has changed. It is time for revelation. And the ones who are going to receive the most are the old souls, just like the ones sitting in the chairs right now before me. And so it is.
And so I want to just premise this next channel with Kryon for those in the audience who may have never done a Circle of 12 meditation. They are different to the channels. This is experiential. And Kryon doesn't even like us saying meditation, because is it real or is it not? Are you participating in what Kryon is inviting you to participate in or not? And the journey is absolutely real if you choose to have it that way. And we are in two worlds always at that same time. And for me, the Circle of 12 is about integrating the other side of the veil into everyday life in every moment. That's the intention. I think that's why Kryon's giving that to us. So I invite you.
May I just, before you go, there have been questions.
Yes.
Why do I pick up this microphone when I had another one in my hand? This one has a wire. And some of you know, because there have been times, especially in Europe, where I have drained batteries in a wireless microphone. And it happens very, very quickly. So it doesn't happen, I use a microphone with a wire. So that's why I picked this up on a channel.
I love that you love sharing your nerd stuff with us. So, yeah. And he took off his watch because he drains batteries. Well, Kryon does, actually, yes. All right, beautiful family, soul family. What a precious moment we find ourselves in. Gathered together, hearts merging as one. And in that merging of space, I invite you to close your eyes and allow your breathing to move into that place where you're breathing deep breaths into your belly. And then as you breathe out, exhale for that slow count. And as our breathing slows to a pace where we breathe in for 5 to 6 counts, and exhale for 8 counts. We begin to synchronize with one another. We become entrained. And our intention is to come closer to the core essence of who we are. And that intention is being amplified right now in this moment because that intention is being shared by the beautiful family that surrounds you now in this room, together in this experience. And so we give that intent that we may come closer to the core essence of our being, and that collectively we are supporting each individual that also has that intention. We give that support that each individual who wants to come closer to their core essence of their being, we support that grand intention. And so there's nothing more to do except receive. Thank you, Kryon.
Greetings, dear ones. I am Kryon. Come a little closer. There has been a premise for so many years by those who are spiritual and have dedicated their lives to understanding the relationship between the Creator and themselves and all around them. There has been a premise that there are some things you can do as a human and some things you cannot. And that is regarding the subject of that is touching the elements of the Creator. How far can you go? Can you cross the veil? It's been asked so many times. Why is there a veil? It's been asked so many times. The veil is something that moves, dear ones, and it's been created literally by you. And it represents a wall of belief more than anything else, but more than belief, a wall of energy and enlightenment for humanity. As humans become more enlightened and the tools are given to them, especially during this shift, that veil starts to move. It also gets thinner. Nothing is absolute when it comes to that which has spiritual rules, as you have learned. There are no rules, dear ones, only opportunities. The veil has started to lift, and in that, I have asked my partner to create something that you didn't expect, a way for you to touch your soul. The soul is eternal, dear ones. You have one soul. And that one soul is responsible for all the incarnations that you've had. One soul, many lives. One soul, one set of guides come in with you. They look different. They change even during your life. As the light turns on, they change because you see them better. As the light turns on, you go from perhaps black and white into color. Aha experiences when you realize that you are bigger and God is bigger than anything you were told. We have a ceremony that we use in this circle of 12, and we're going to do it now. And the ceremony is this: that you acknowledge that there are things you don't know. You walk around in 4 dimensions, basically. You broach many others, and your own DNA has multidimensional properties. If you doubt that, what does a quantum biologist do? You and so many things around you are built in a multidimensional way. Gravity, magnetics, and so much more. multidimensional, beyond your understanding, and sitting there waiting for you to use them. It's the revelation to come with energy, with food growth, with so many things that will change this planet dramatically. All sitting there waiting. Multidimensionality is the future. But your reality still sits in 4. Your soul is multidimensional. When you touch your soul, dear ones, sometimes there is a rewriting, literally, of your entire structure, and that is when healing often occurs. When you have spontaneous remission, what is that? What causes it? What are the attributes of it? And I'll tell you, it's when you touch your soul. And it rewrites everything inside you, including every single disease and any appropriate, inappropriate thing. And it's always been there for you for that. My partner's experience, he told you yesterday, showed him that. It comes from the creative source indeed, but that comes inside you. As you start to touch that which is multidimensional, especially that which belongs to you, which you are, which is your soul, things start to change within you. Can you imagine connecting to your soul in such a way that you get wisdom that has always been there? Things that you know are there, and you just haven't been able to get because you're a human being and you can't get across the veil. Well, I want you to come with me across the veil. There is a bridge that we always talk about. It's ceremonial and it's metaphoric in this visualization, in this meditation. And it crosses from the known to the unknown. And there is a veil in the middle of the bridge. It represents that veil you've been told between you and the Creator. That veil you might cross in death and come back through in reincarnate. But you're not going to die because you don't have to. The veil is for you, always has been for you, to move across in your own way and discover the bigger you. It's all there, always has been. What if you could touch that which is your own soul energy, that eternal soul that always was and always will be, that is part of the creative source? We're going to cross that bridge in just a moment. We're going to walk through a veil, a mist, if you choose to. And this is something that some say, I don't think I want to do that because I've been told it's dangerous. If you're uncomfortable, don't do it. But for the rest of you, the invitation right now is to take my hand. And in taking my hand, dear ones, you will cross in safety with me to a place that is unknown. And what I mean by unknown is when you move into multidimensional energies, things are not what you seem. They're not what you think they are. They scramble themselves. It seems like a dream, where there are so many realities that you meet people that shouldn't have known one another in times that are wrong. That's what it's like. And that's why you're with me. I want you to move through the mist into, I'll call it a place, but it isn't. In a multidimensional sense, there is no such thing as a place or even a location. It's energy-based, dear ones. But for you, you are in the grandest place that you can imagine, the most beautiful place you've ever been, or that you've only seen perhaps in pictures. And you begin to realize it's you. Those things that you fantasized about regarding the beauty of what could be, of what you could look upon in a vista on this planet, in the beauty that's there, is right in front of you. And you realize you've been visualizing about you. It's hard to describe how this drips with compassion and love, but it does. First thing, it makes you wonder, why hasn't that got through the veil to me? How can I sit here in such peacefulness and wonderment? How can I have this now and it didn't filter into my body? And I will tell you, this is a new tool, because you're going to take back some of this with you if you want. This is new. Permission to touch that face of your soul, even for a little bit, even for meditations, and bring back things that you should have now for this time. My partner, through my Kryon words, has told you that you are in a conflict, and you are, of light and dark. This is the tool, not just through the Circle of 12, but is happening all over the world, where people are starting to touch wisdom that they've never had. And light workers, old souls who have been incarnate in this world for hundreds of times. It's like a school, dear ones. It's a school of learning. Every time you come to the planet, you learn something, and you come back. Those who come to the planet for the first time, you can spot them. I'll even call them newbies, because you say A and they say B back. They don't even know how things work. It is a school that you have gone through, old soul, a light school, where you now are in graduate status. Truly you are, because now you're starting to use these tools. Imagine bringing pieces and parts of the wisdom of what you've learned and your soul back to you to use. How does that work, Kryon? It works. It works in a multidimensional way, with thoughts and intuitions that you've never had, with ideas that will keep you safe from fear, from ways of posturing your life so that you are above the fray. Mastery starts to be yours. What's going to happen in this place? I'll do something which is common. I want to take you through a door, a portal. The door, it has a name on it. It's your name, by the way, but it's written in light. It's a light name. It's the name we call you by. You can't even pronounce it. You see, it's not a name that's pronounced. It's an energy name. You won't know it until you pass from this earth yet again, and you'll recognize it, because we sing your name in light. I'll tell you, when you are not on this planet, you experience some of these things: compassion, love, lack of turmoil, beauty, understanding, safety, and spiritual logic. And that's a hard one for so many to realize, that the Creator has a plan, and so do you. And it's beautiful, above anything you thought. Come with me through this portal, this door, and we take you to a theater. It's a metaphoric place, a theater in the round, a theater that has an audience sunken all around it and the stage in the middle, and you have to go down into the chairs of the audience in order to get onto the stage, and you do that. And every single time we do that, there's something that happens here. Sometimes it's not a theater, but often it is. We have gone through this before in the broadcasts in a different way. And this way is for you today. You're going to see two chairs on the stage, and one is for you, and one is facing you. You can tell by that there's going to be a dialogue with someone in the other chair, that you're going to meet someone in the other chair. You go up onto the stage, and the lights seem to come on, but they illuminate an audience, which you look at and you say, there's hundreds here. Who are they this time? Why are they? There's always a purpose for this. There's always an interchange. There's always something to learn, or something to do, or something to feel, or someone to meet. Don't sit in the chair yet. I want you to stand there and just feel the compassion and the love and the planning that has gone into this moment for you. The love and the compassion and the safety for you as you sit in your soul for a moment, just for a moment. Who are these people? You start to see their faces and you see, I know this, I recognize this, somehow I know who these are. Who could they be? And finally, one of them stands as a spokesperson. And that one will be the first one you meet in the chair. And that one says to you, we are you. Each one of us in human form represent a past life you've had. We are you. And it's going to take some time, but you've got plenty of time, because each one of us is going to come up and sit in the chair and tell you what we learned. Tell you what is coming that we know. Tell you who you were and what you've gone through that is so spectacular and beautiful. And we're not going to fill you with the horrors of what you went through, but what you learned and the beauty, the children that you've had. And you'll notice that we are both genders. And you will see inside each of us pieces and parts of you, because we are the culmination of the shift and why you're here. Everything you have been through on the earth, all of us are you. Every incarnation has led up to an old soul that you are today on the earth. That's who we are. And in the audience, you will see one who is very, very small. And you're going to learn something right now, even from that. So small, they're an infant, even perhaps smaller. And you'll say, who is that? And the person will say, that is when you lived for 3 months and died. And you would say, what is that about? What is the purpose of that? That is a real past life. When you came in by design to change your parents, and you did. You kicked them so hard with that death of a child. You kicked them so hard that they had to look at who they were. Something they would have never done before. They looked at who they were, and they crossed the veil themselves while they were here. And they found that which was spiritual truth. And they went on to shed the light to others and to others, because you came and you passed in 3 months. What a plan. And the person said, be careful, it wasn't a sacrifice. It was a beautiful life, because you passed life in the light in that way to those you loved on the planet. Each incarnation is designed in love, in compassion. Even when you come to places that don't seem to be good places, because you learned things and you took them into the next incarnation and the next incarnation. We can hardly wait to tell you the magnificence of every single life you've lived. Do you have time? Do you have time to listen? And in an interdimensional way, the answer is yes. Oh, I've got as much time as you want. How many are there? For you, dear one, the spokesperson said, there are over 300. We hope you have time. We hope you have time for us to love you, for you to see us in you, to meet yourself and realize how grand you are in the scope of things, and how you'll pass what you know to yourself the next time you come. And you will come back, because you are the light of the world, and you are the salvation of all that is. Light workers are the ones who will put light here. And the more light you have, and the more times you've come, the better off this planet will be. Stay. And one by one, indeed, they came up, and they sat across from you, and you recognized yourself, and they told you of the beauty of the wonderment of the things that you saw and you did and who you were. And that is how every single one of you is seen by God. Stay there as long as you wish, and go there as often as you choose. This is the circle of 12. I am Kryon, in love with all of you, because I see you as God does. And so it is.
I invite all of you to close your eyes and just allow this space to disconnect from any thought that you may have had, and to disconnect from any chatter that might be happening in your brain. And if there is chatter in your brain, we can just acknowledge it and say, wow, beautiful brain. Thank you for all your chatter that you bring me. But we're going into some quiet time, because we're going to disconnect from that chatter in our brain. And we're going to have some quiet time where we can connect with the energy of our heart. It's the energy of our heart that wants to communicate to us in this moment. Our beautiful heart that is present every beat throughout the day. Even if we are not aware of it, our heart is beating every moment of every day. And it's there in the silence, waiting to connect when you're ready to listen to the whispers of the silence that it exists in. And each of you has such a unique path. And the compass that guides you on that path is always the silent whisperings from your heart. And the one that guides and connects the heart is connected to the field of the Creator. That creative source that we all came from, and that creative source that we will all merge back into when we're no longer here on this physical plane of beautiful planet Earth. And so we just say thank you to our beautiful heart. Thank you for accompanying us on this amazing journey. And now we allow our heart to receive the love wash that is here, should you choose to receive it. We allow our heart to now receive that love wash from Kryon.
Greetings, dear ones. I am Kryon of Magnetic Service. So much you have experienced and seen, heard in these 2 days. I speak, of course, to the audience in front of me and not to the ones who will listen later. But for all of you, listening later and here, I'd like to give you a short metaphoric message. Dear ones, we have given you so many times the idea that light is coming. And that in itself is a metaphor. For the light we speak of is enlightenment. And this takes shape in so many ways. You could say that the light is coming in wisdom, in understanding, between human and human. That's not here yet. You can say light is coming in the inventions of the planet so that electricity can be produced without any resource being used, and food can be grown where food could never be grown before, and there would be no hunger. That's not here yet. And on, you might say, that someday there will be enlightenment even in that which is your governments and the way things work in corporations, and that it will change the face of everything. I'd like to tell you that all of that hangs in the field. It hangs in the field. That means it is your future. For those in the room and for those perhaps listening might understand, but I will tell you, your planet is on a target. A road that has a target on it. And on this road there is something unstoppable, and that's you. There was a time when I said, humanity may do this if it chooses, and you can go back in time and hear this so many times. That you have free choice, dear ones, and if you choose to do this, then it will happen. And at this point, I will tell you, at the beginning of this year, that the snowball is rolling, and you're not going to stop it. And that snowball is white, and it's light. And it may take a little longer to get down the hill than you want. But I have seen this in other civilizations, in other planets of ascension, and some of you have been on them and recognize it, and your old souls here today, because that was the plan. That you would come back and have enough lifetimes of experience to feel it and remember it and know not to be afraid. To be part of the final battle of dark and light, which may surprise you in how it develops. But even in these last 2 days, you've seen perhaps what is going on and the hope of the future. That's why you're here. And those listening to my voice, I will say to you yet again, things are not always what they seem. I want to give you, in closing, a little parable. It's the parable of a man named Woe. He's not actually a man. He could be a woe man, but we call him a man because it's convenient and you understand it better. It's a parable that stretches the imagination of reality, and that's what parables do. In some of mine, I will take you to planets that don't exist and situations that can't happen. But there's a reason. There are things you don't realize, attributes that you do not know about that which we call light. And so to show you what I mean, I'll give you this parable. If you ask a warrior, a soldier, what it's like to fight a battle at night, they will tell you it's not often done. Night battles, and even in current wars, are often with artillery. Very seldom do they meet another soldier on the field at night. Those battles are fought during the day, you say. But sometimes they're not. And if you talk to a warrior of old, where they're only using swords on the battlefield, and you say, what is it like to fight at night? They'll look at you and they say, You don't know who's there. And it's very, very difficult. And it's horror. That's the metaphor of this planet at the moment. You're in the dark. You are still in the dark. And you're fighting battles wildly in the dark. And that's the dysfunction you see. I'll take you to a planet that's very dark. And woe is a warrior. And he's been fighting on this planet for a very long time with a very old rusty sword. And he's been put out onto the field so many times and thought it was his last time, as he would hear noises and think he's heard shapes and swing his sword. And he had been wounded a number of times, and he was in the trench once again, ready to go out and do it again. Paint this picture, it's pretty sorrowful, pretty ugly. But the planet itself was dark, and daylight never seemed to come, and it always seemed to be battle after battle with his rusty sword. It may seem funny and perhaps a little goofy what comes next. But a little green man showed up. He spoke funny. And he said to Woe, "I have a special saber for you." And Woe said, "Really? I could use a new one because mine's so old and so rusty. Thank you." And the little green man handed him this. And it didn't look like a sword at all until they pressed a button and out came a lightsaber. Wow. The little green man went away. Woe knew he was going to win this battle because as soon as he turned that on, he would then be able to swipe his enemy and he would be chief on the battlefield and he would be winning this battle and he wouldn't have to worry anymore, but that's not what he got. When it was time for the warriors to go on the field and they rang the bell and up they came out of the trenches, he raced out into the field and he hit that button and up came the light. What he saw around him, he didn't expect. All of the warriors that he had never seen before, he'd only heard him before, they showed up. And all around him, there was shock as they saw not him with a saber sword, but the light that it created. And they looked around, and for the first time, they saw each other eyeball to eyeball. And they recognized they were all in shabby clothes with rusty blades. And they'd even forgotten what they were doing. And they saw each other as human beings for the first time. And collectively, without a word being spoken, while he was holding that light, they all dropped their swords and looked at each other. And almost every single one of them walked around. For the first time, they could see one another. Didn't even recognize the uniforms. Didn't even know why they were fighting. And it was the beginning of light on that planet. One man. This is a metaphor for you, as goofy as it might sound, of light where there is no light. That's what you get. You don't know how dark it is here until you see the brilliance of the wisdom that is coming. You don't see how dark it is here until someone comes along with ideas that have never been there before. And you go, why didn't we think of this before? With inventions that have never been seen before, that change not just the atmosphere of a technology, but rewrites an economy. Those are the kinds of things that happen with light. Those are the things that are hanging in the field. You've had a glimpse of them in these 2 days. of what is possible on this planet. So I will echo what my partner said earlier. Don't be afraid, because you have that saber sword. And slowly you'll understand how to create the light, what it means, and how to put it in the framework of mastery and not conflict, and how to use it so gently and so softly and so beautifully that you illuminate areas that needed illuminated and they never even knew you were there. Like the one who strikes the match in the dark room, you can't see who it is, but you see all around you. This is the future of this planet, regardless of what you're being told. This is the future of this planet, and old souls are the ones with the experience that they have who will bring it to fruition on this planet in these times. There is no accident you are here. There is no accident that you are hearing these words. Now go from this place or this recording and think about what I have said and understand who you are and how the Creator has set this up and how you have agreed to it and why you're here. In compassion and love, which are the tools of the day, I congratulate you for being here and taking the mantle of this lifetime that may change everything on the planet. I am Kryon in love with humanity. And so it is.